Did the perverted life of Tiberius and his abuse of absolute power lead Rome into a dark age of political insurgency, or was it his choice of heir that led to it? Tiberius Caesar was one of the most infamous of Rome's early rulers. Scandalous and lewd tales surround his reputation. His death also surrounds many mysteries. Let's dig deep into the pages of history to know what really happened to Tiberius. Early life of Tiberius. Claudius Nero was the father of Tiberius. He had served as Julius Caesar's naval captain. In the civil wars that erupted after Julius Caesar's death, Claudius sided with Mark Antony. When Augustus Caesar went on to beat Antony in the subsequent power battle, his family had to flee from Rome. When Tiberius was 3 years old, an amnesty was granted and the family was allowed to return to Rome. Tiberius's mother, Livia, was attractive, so Augustus married her and made Tiberius and his young brother live with him and his father alone. Tiberius moved in with Augustus and Livia in the imperial palace when he was 9 years old, following the death of his father. In the palace, he learned rhetoric, literature, diplomacy, and military techniques. He also started participating in official events purely ceremonially. Tiberius, a 13-year-old, rode the right horse of Augustus's chariot in the triumphal procession after Augustus defeated Cleopatra and Antony at Actium. By the age of 14, Tiberius became accustomed to eating with imperial rulers, leading religious ceremonies over the heads of strong men who were 5 times his age, and even recognizing his likeness in marble sculptures. Contrary to expectations, Tiberius wed Vipsana Agrippina, the daughter of Marcus Agrippa, Augustus's son-in-law and lieutenant. Love affairs weren't uncommon in imperial Rome. Military prowess of Tiberius. At the age of 22, he took command of his first military operation, which led to the restoration of certain Roman legions' lost standards. He was assigned with the task of establishing peace in the Adriatic Sea province of Pannonia as payment for his efforts, and sought another active command. In addition to defeating the enemy, Tiberius distinguished himself by showing exceptional concern for his troops, earning him popularity and even affection. He received a triumph upon his arrival in Rome, but the good times of Tiberius were coming to an end. Self-imposed exile to Rhodes Island. After the death of Tiberius's brother Drusus in 11 BC, Augustus compelled him to wed Julia, the emperor's daughter, instead of his devoted bride. Tiberius was a rather reserved young guy. He was a superb soldier and general who led Roman soldiers to victory in Germany and Armenia. While he performed admirably while on the campaign trail, he detested returning to Rome. In 6 BC, he withdrew and exiled himself to the Greek island of Rhodes to continue his studies in Greek philosophy and eloquence. He retired purportedly because he hated Julia, his wife, whom he accused of taking him from his first wife, Vipsania Agrippina. However, he was waiting to see how the succession would go, worrying the elderly Augustus, who still had no obvious heir. At the age of 36, Tiberius was at the height of his authority. He was competent to lead an empire, a major conflict, or a region populated by barbarians. He had nothing to do in Rhodes, and all of his strength and talent seemed to have gone within, manifesting in bizarre and nasty behavior. Tiberius was summoned back to Rome by Augustus. Gaius perished in a conflict in Lycia in the year 4 BCE after Tiberius had reclaimed all of his honors. Even though Augustus didn't like him, he took him in as his son. He was getting older and had no other option. The least offensive of the remaining successors was Tiberius. Tiberius grew haughty and mighty. His monuments were now reconstructed that were destroyed and vandalized while he was in Rhodes. Succession to the throne. On August 19, 14 AD, Augustus passed away. A month later, the Senate confirmed Tiberius as emperor, giving him complete control over the Roman Empire. Tiberius was a powerful warrior, yet he would turn out to be a lousy ruler. Tiberius preferred to delegate the grunt work to the strongmen around him. Therefore, he was mainly absent from the administration of the state. Head of the Praetorian Guard, Sejanus, shared de facto control of the Roman Empire until he was executed at 31 on charges of planning a revolt against Tiberius. As a youthful, dashing prince who led expeditions and put down uprisings until his tragic death in Syria in 19 AD, Germanicus, the father of Caligula, also had significant influence in Rome. Germanicus was poisoned at a distant land, but many believe that it was done on the orders of Tiberius. perverted life of Tiberius. Starting in 22 AD, Tiberius began to spend more and more time away from Rome in the southern regions of Capri. Later, in 26 AD, he moved to Capri permanently, giving the senators control of the Roman Empire while he indulged in his vices. Tiberius Caesar didn't fully expose his depravity until he went into self-imposed exile in the Jupiter Villa on the island of Capri. In order to revive his dwindling libido, Tiberius would order his tight butts, a group of young lads whose skills are obvious from their nickname, to execute threesomes in front of him. Tiberius would saturate his drinking buddies with copious amounts of wine before tying cable ties around their genitalia to prevent them from urinating, whether out of sexual depravity or out of simple sadism. But Tiberius was most well known for his pedophilia. When Tiberius took a bath, he trained small babies, whom he dubbed his little fishes, to swim between his legs and nibble on his genitalia. Not just that, he would remove the infants from their mothers and place them close to his genitalia in the hopes that they would react to him like they would a mother's breast. On the island, Tiberius is accused of sexually abusing 2 boys during a ceremony. He also sexually harassed aristocratic women, leaving them so traumatized that they killed themselves. Downfall of Tiberius. But Tiberius had not forgotten about the actual world. He eventually saw how powerful he had made Sejanus and how vulnerable he had made himself. In 31 AD, he consented to his 16th election as Rome's consul and selected Sejanus to serve as his co-consul. Sejanus was permitted to wed Livilla, the son of Tiberius's widow. He was honored with golden sculptures, and his birthday was made a holiday. However, Tiberius had grown to despise and dread him. Tiberius sneaked a letter to the Senate condemning Sejanus and requesting his execution with the help of Marco. The sudden adjustment startled and surprised the Senate, but it immediately complied. Evidently, by this point, Tiberius had reached the height of his condemnation, torture, and execution, which continued for the next 6 years of his life. During this time of fear, Livilla and Sejanus killed his son Drusus, and evidence of this was discovered for him by his relatives and torturers. No one on Capri was safe during the Inquisition, since many illustrious Roman figures were entangled, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Who will lead the empire after him was his greatest lingering fear. Tiberius chose the least offending of a bad bunch, just like Augustus had done before him. Gaius Caesar, sometimes known as Caligula or Little Boots, was his choice. Fate had something different for Tiberius. He was to be paid for his bad deeds. Tiberius participated in a ceremonial game that required him to hurl a javelin in the spring of 37 CE. He injured his shoulder, fell unwell, and went into a coma. The Praetorian Guard announced that they were in favor of the new emperor. On March 16, 37 AD, a few months before his 78th birthday, Tiberius passed away in Misenum. The word that the emperor had awakened and was regaining his wits reached Caligula. Caligula allegedly poisoned Tiberius. According to rumors, Caligula smothered the man in his bedclothes after the monarch's demands for sustenance were ignored. This is what really happened to Tiberius. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, check out the other historical figures that we talk about on this channel. Remember to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss out. I'll see you next time.